Guys, Utah won a football game. So welcome to the very first Ute Dash victory celebration episode. Sammy, we're 1-2, but we're feeling like we're undefeated.
Yeah, the title of the episode today is Victory Screech because I thought of this morning, all I could think about was that clip from SpongeBob where SpongeBob's like, Victory Screech!
Yeah.
So I thought that was fitting for today because I feel like that's how Utah fans are feeling right now. Even though there's a small handful who are like, this was not a good win. Win is a win, guys.
Win is a win. And when you're 0-2 for the first time in 13 years, that first win feels just so good.
It was so nice. It was stressful, but it was very nice.
Yeah, which honestly I think made it feel even better. Like it was 30-10, I believe, to start
Yeah.
The fourth quarter. But a blowout would I would have been as excited, but I think because it was stressful and we came out on top, we felt even better. But
so good. I'm the lack of sleep is now catching up.
Tired.
Is now catching up.
I was at Rice Eccles till like 2 a.m., but no regrets. It was a good day, good weekend. My two favorite teams won: Coastal Carolina, the University of Utah. It's been a good one, but let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of the day. Sammy, what was good for Utah in Saturday's victory?
Well, first of all, I would just like to acknowledge our one of our Beaver hosts, Morgan, who's in the chat, who just said pain. Morgan, we've been feeling that for the last 2 weeks, so now it's our time to shine and not feel pain.
Been there.
We've been there, done that. Pain, book closed, done with it. Okay, what was good? I would just like to start off with the man, the myth, the legend, Ty Jordan. Can we give it up? Can we give a round of applause to the true freshman? The true freshman just out here making plays. I love this kid. Oh, he's so good. He reminds me so much of Zach Moss. I'm not going to compare him to Zach Moss. I'm not going to say he is Zach Moss because Nick Ford today was like, he is Ty Jordan and Zach Moss is Zach Moss. They are two separate people. And I respect that, Nick. So if you're watching, I saw your tweet. So I just love him. He was so good. He looked fantastic last night, and I really love him. So that was my biggest, what was good. My second is you can't acknowledge the run game that Utah had without also acknowledging the offensive line. The Utah offensive line was making some good holes for him and for Makai and for Devin. They were making these good holes, and the offensive line really stepped up. Like their pass protection is still kind of sus at times, but other than that, it was really good. The offensive line looked really good. Cole, do you want to jump to yours first, and then we'll come back to me because I have some defense ones that I want to address.
Yeah, so just kind of reiterating, Ty Jordan went off. 27 carries, 167 yards, 1 touchdown. You know, I do like that his teammates are supporting him in the fact that he is creating his own identity. He is Ty Jordan. He's not Zach Moss. But that doesn't mean I can't say he's the second coming of Zach Moss, just in his own way. I cannot wait to see what this kid does moving forward. He's special. I think his football IQ is really, really high. He makes really good reads and then is able to, pick the right gaps and go through those. And he breaks away for big plays. Several times last night, whether it's he's receiving the ball or he's taking out of the backfield, he's finding those lanes and he's going off for 15 to 20 yards every now and again. So this is a great player, and I love that eligibility is frozen, so we could see this kid for maybe an extra year.
I also would like to say about Ty one more thing is he was hitting, he was getting tackled hard, but he was also laying his shoulder down and into people last night, and it was fun to watch. I think he's great. And then his post-game press conference last night was just,
it was a tearjerker.
It was a tearjerker. It was so emotional. I'm so happy for him. He's been through a lot, and just to see how happy he was and how much the team is accepted, the team loves him. I'm not saying that they wouldn't love any running back, but they love him so much. And he got the game ball. Of course he had a great game. Ty Jordan is my Utah freshman player of the year. He is.
Well, I tweeted this last night. If the bookstore sold actual player jerseys, get me a freaking Ty Jordan. I'd be rocking that number 22.
Oh yeah, same. I love him. Okay, sorry, we're gonna digress about Ty Jordan for a second because I know Cole has some things he'd like to address to the people that were good.
Yeah, absolutely. So Britain Covey and Brant Keithy combined for 12 receptions and 130 yards. Polar opposite of the week previously, where they combined for 4, and every single one of those was Brant Keithy. That was one of my keys to victory that I talked about on the crossover show, and I'm glad that we saw it come true because it made a big difference. Covey mentioned in his post-game presser, the coaching staff, that was one of their focuses the previous week in practice was getting that chemistry between him and Bentley, because it's just, you can't have that kind of a weapon and just not use him. And that's what happened against Washington. It didn't happen last night, and look what happened. They took advantage and they won the football game, and Covey had 2 touchdowns. That's fantastic. The next one, Jake Bentley and the Utah offense didn't have a single turnover. Another key to victory that I had talked about, because you can't, in their first 2 games, 9 turnovers, and I believe 4 or 5 of those were Bentley. You're not going to win football games.
You're not going to.
But I think last night that was one of the biggest reasons they won the game, because the only turnover was against Oregon State. It kept the ball in Utah's hands and out of the Beavers, and that was actually one of the struggles in the fourth quarter, is they couldn't keep the ball out of the Beavers' hands. So it was good that they didn't commit a single turnover and took advantage of when they had the ball, just so that they could score points, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And my last one, Sammy, before I let you take over, Sac Lake City, I think, is back. There's several candidates, Lloyd, Tafua, Pututau, they all dropped Nolan for a loss, and those were big plays.
Oh, yeah. Sac Lake, I don't think Sac Lake City ever left. Like, Sac Lake City just moved to Dallas. It's still there. It's always there, and it always will be here. But I agree. I think that the defense looked really good. That was one of my other things that was really good, is the defense didn't take – there was a couple of drives that were kind of which we'll get to for the Utah defense. First of all, they didn't let their foot off the brake. Like, they were still like – they're off the gas. I mean, they were going hard the entire time, which was really, really fun to see, because Morgan Scally, I think, took a lot of flack last week because he went conservative with like how he played in the second half against Washington and stuff. But I think the defense looked good. Jake Bentley didn't turn over the ball. Ty Jordan's a beast. We love the offensive line, and we finally won a game.
Yeah, and
it's been over a year, Cole. It's been over a year since we've won a game, and now we finally did it.
I know. I was thinking that, like, I can't believe it's been over a year since the Utah victory. Might I point out, I was in attendance last night.
Oh yeah, Cole, you made your Rice Eccles press box debut. How was that?
May or may not have had something to do with the fact they won. I'm not going to say that it did, but you never know. But Sammy, to go off one thing that you were talking about there, the defense, I was impressed with the young Utah secondary. I think they did a pretty good job. They held Oregon State for 174 yards in the air. They didn't give up a lot of big plays through the air besides that last touchdown, which...
How did he catch that? How? Because Devin tipped it.
It touched, I swear it touched 2 Utah.
I know Lloyd tipped it. And then like, I can't remember who were covering him, but didn't, like, one of them, it go through his hands, one of our Utah dudes?
I swear it was like about to be caught by him, and then just went around him and into the hands of that Beaver receiver. And what's funny is I was actually sharing the wall in the press box with the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley, and he lost track of the football. He thought it was incomplete. And then about 5 seconds goes by, and I hear him scream, "Oh my gosh, the Beavers just scored a touchdown." I thought he dropped it, but they're celebrating. And I was like,
I know, from the TV view also, it was kind of the same way. I was like sitting next to my dad, and I was like, did he catch that? Like, because it was I will say that was a great catch given all that happened with that ball. But at the same time, I was like, also one more thing about the second year before we like jump into the next topic is, after Malone was ejected for that targeting call, I was kind of a little worried. I was like, oh God, what's going to happen? But it was really seamless. They slipped Clark over to the nickel position, and they put Fabian on the other corner, and it wasn't correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there wasn't that much of like a drop off. There might have been. There was a little bit of one because Clark plays different than Fabian plays.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think that it was still pretty. It was a pretty good secondary game for the secondary. Vontae had his second interception of the season. There was a couple of pass breakups. So
I don't think that. I mean, obviously, he is a great player, but I don't think that having him not get ejected would have changed the outcome.
Oh, it wouldn't have.
I think they would have played the exact same. But anyways, we digress there. Let's go ahead and move on to the second topic. Now, this game wasn't perfect, Sammy. I think we saw 45 minutes of a full Utah game. They were 15 minutes shy of playing an entire game of Utah football, so there was some bad.
I would say actually like 7 minutes shy, in my opinion, because the defense played pretty well in the fourth quarter, with the exception of that like the touchdown drive and stuff. But it was the fullest Utah football game we've had all season, and I will say I'm very grateful for that, because it's progressively we're getting more and more of a game. USC, it was like we probably played like a quarter. Washington, we played a half. Oregon State, we played 3 quarters. So maybe when we play 3 quarters and some change, maybe idea. Maybe when we play Colorado, we'll play a full game, and we'll make them, give them an L, and crush their hopes.
Well, they're playing a real team this next Saturday or Friday. Excuse me. They're playing a real team.
Boom. Okay, so what was bad for Utah? We'll just jump, because even though there was a lot of good, there was also some bad. Okay. That first quarter was rough. I will say that, with like scoring wise, like 3 field goals. That's not ideal. That's not fun. That's not good. That it took me back to those years when Utah couldn't score a touchdown and we just settled for field. It was like PTSD shock, and I didn't like it. And I think a lot of it is on Bentley in this case, because he overthrew Brandt wide open in the end zone, and then he missed Brandt on the other end zone on the ensuing drive. So it's like there's that, like, bro, like, just take a little bit off those balls, especially the one in the north end zone. That one, Brandt had all the space. He had beat the guy who was covering him. Just take a little bit off of it. A little bit off of it, and Brandt comes out with 7. And Cole is very happy. Like, that's not good. Like, that was my thing. But, like, other than that, did Bentley look terrible? No. Did he look good? Also, no, but he looked better. He looked better. I will say, him not turning over the ball was fantastic, but I also will give Oregon State props, because there was 2 times that he should have thrown interceptions.
Yes.
There were 2 very bad ones that should have been interceptions, but the Oregon State defenders could not come down with it.
Yeah, props for being in the right place, but I don't know how they dropped those. I mean, I think they both hit the guy in the chest.
One in the chest, and then the other one, I think it hit him like square in the hands, which my dad says is like the worst place to get hit when you're playing football, is right in the hands. Like, come on, like, I know you guys do tip drills, like, bring it down. I'm not saying that I wanted Bentley to be picked off, but also, like, you got to get Oregon State. You got to bring those down.
Well, let me just explain how it went in the press box last night. So I can't tell you how many times the entire press box erupted in laughter at some of the decisions and the poor throws Bentley made last night. 2 of those being overthrowing the ginormous Brandt Keithy in the end zone wide open. He didn't throw an interception, but to be honest, like we said, there should have been 2. He also just made bad decisions from time to time. I feel like there are certain plays where Bentley picks out who he's going to pass to from the beginning, and he doesn't waver from that decision, even if guys are wide open. And we've seen this throughout the season where, there might be a design play that you're supposed to get the ball to Covey or Thompson or Keithy, but there's usually 3 or 4 other receivers that are open, and he's not going to them. There's even a few times where Ty Jordan was open, off to his left or to his right with space to run, and instead he throws into double coverage, and the ball gets tipped or knocked down to the ground. And those are times that they're just laughing, because it's like, dude, you are a senior. You played in the SEC. Come on. There's got to be better decisions made there.
Here's my thing also is we've been burned by him so much this point, like all the season already, is I shouldn't get fear when he drops back to throw a deep ball. But I have that. I hold my breath, I clench up, like I was like hiding behind my laptop last night. Like I shouldn't be scared when he drops back to go throw a deep ball. I shouldn't be afraid. But he has thrown into double coverage and proven time and time again that he won't make a smart decision.
Oh, I think it's worse when he's got great protection and he has more time. Because
okay, I can see that.
Because I think every time he's like, all right, I got the protection, I'm going deep, and I'm not thinking about it, and I'm just throwing the football.
Also, can we get Solomon Enos involved more? That's my other thing. That was bad.
Was Thompson active last night?
Thompson was active, but he was just not like 100%. So Thompson was active, same with Nakua, but the two of them were kind of like not 100%. But can we get Solomon Enos involved more? Please. I love him.
Well, we kind of swapped targets this week, right? I mean, the previous week I feel like it was mostly Thompson, some to Keithy, but this week it was Keithy and Covey.
So let's like take that and let's put in the atmosphere that we want Solomon Enos to have a big game against Colorado. Let's put that out into the atmosphere, into the universe, because maybe it'll happen, because it happened last week with you talking about Covey.
Yeah, keys to victory. They're right here. Whit is just watching this and taking everything I say.
He's like, oh, kid. He said we need to throw it to Covey.
So a couple other things that I feel like Utah struggled with. The defense gave up way too many yards on the ground, and the star running back Jefferson didn't even play. They gave up 229 yards on the ground, and to me, I think a lot of it, the D-line just seemed to be getting pushed around, and there were several big gaps and holes that kept opening up, and they were running the football for 10, 15 yards, and quite a few of those too were even broken pass plays where the quarterback just, they overcommitted, I feel like, on a blitz, and he was just able to run around, and he's going off for 15, 20 yards. So that was unacceptable. And then another thing was Utah couldn't convert a third down to save their life in the fourth quarter. It's like all of the energy got sucked out of the offense as soon as Covey returned that punt. They didn't do a darn thing. And Coach Whitt was not happy about it in the post-game press conference. I mean, it potentially could have cost them the game. Your defense got to stop with less than 3 minutes left in the game, and you couldn't finish the game there. The defense had to come back onto the field and stop another fourth down for you to win the football game. Now, absolutely props to the defense. That was fantastic, and that's why, in close situations, Utah's probably going to trust their defense to stop rather than the offense to finish out the game. But
can we just also, side note, can we talk about how prior to the season we said that this defense isn't going to win games for Utah? Utah's offense is going to win the game. And last night was the polar opposite of that. It basically was like a Utah team from years past where the defense came out and won the game.
When I feel like it was that, like, it was the defense's game to lose last week as well, when the offense didn't score a single touchdown. I mean, the touchdown for Covey in the second half, that was our first touchdown of the second half in the entire season. That's 3 games wild. In. That's the offense has got to step up and do more. And I think it is contingent, like the rest of the season, the games, the offense has got to be better. And I don't know if last night is good enough, playing Colorado and then whoever we end up playing, whether it's Washington State or Oregon in that final game.
Yeah.
But the offense has got to be better, or else Utah's going to end up, 1 in 4?
Yeah. The last thing I want to add before we jump to the third and our I'm the most excited for topic is penalties. Oh my God. The penalties, especially on the defense last night. What was going on? What was that? That was so not good. It was anyways. But then can we talk about how Devin Lloyd got an unsportsmanlike conduct for celebrating Britain Covey's touchdown? Because that was a little upsetting.
I wanted to, in the post-game press conference, ask him what he did to deserve that because I didn't see it.
It was a stupid call. It was very much, it wasn't the same thing as like when Moss got his unsportsmanlike conduct last year, but it was like kind of like a what kind of happened moment. But the last thing I want to address really fast is like, remember when Mika Tafua like ended up dropping into coverage and like the Oregon wide receiver like dropped a ball wide open and like on the 5-yard line or something. And I like texted you. I was like, did Mika just drop into coverage? Like, what was that? Like, that's not bad, but that's just like a what moment kind of happened.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. Like that was a busted play. Like Oregon State could have scored on that, but shout out to Mika.
Yeah, it's just, these are small things, right? These are just small bits of execution that can be just a little bit better, and it eliminates the problem. I mean, the penalties just killed the defense and almost gave Oregon State an opportunity to win the football game. But, I'm sure it's something that will be addressed. And, Coach Witt talked about that last night. He said, that's on us. We as a coaching staff have got to be better in making sure that these guys are making the right decisions and not making those small little mistakes that build up and build up and build up, and
that could break the back of the team.
Yeah, that end in disaster. But let's end on a positive note today, as Utah did last night with a victory. Let's move on to the third topic. Let's talk about Britain Covey.
We love Britain Covey. Britain Covey. So I will jump into this first. I love Britain Covey. I've always loved Britain Covey. He's one of my favorite players on the team. I think I love him so much because he knows what is asked of him. He knows what the team needs to do, and he's willing to do it. He's willing to put in the effort. He's willing to put in the time. He redshirted last year because he didn't feel like he was at percent, and he didn't want to risk the team. So I think that he's a team player. He's a great dude. He's also very funny. I still remember one of my favorite moments from this season is when Utah was having all these quarterback issues, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be suiting up as quarterback for the U this year." Like that was funny. He's a leader. This is the game that fans have been waiting for with Britain Covey, and I'm so happy that we finally got it because we've been waiting ages to see him back. Last year, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Britain Covey's going to be back," and then he ended up not being back, and it was kind of a little bit sad. But to see him score his first touchdown since 2018 receiving was so nice. It's well deserved for him. He's been working and grinding, and it's so good to see him back on the field for Utah. And the punt return touchdown, even better. That was literally icing on top of the Covey cake last night. So good.
The Covey cake. I like that.
The Covey cake, yeah.
So Britain Covey is just a fantastic human being, great football player. This guy's a veteran. He's been around for, just about half a decade.
And he will still be on the team if he stays until 2022.
Yes, which is, I don't know that he will.
I don't know if he will either, but it's just the fact that we could say that Covey has been on the team since 2015 and he will be on the team until 2022 that just blows my mind.
I think it would be awesome. But just continuing on that, this guy knows the game, he knows the system, and his football IQ, I think, is one of the best on the team, if not the best.
Oh, it is. It's so good.
Something that I think a lot of receivers struggle with is a narrow or kind of a tunnel vision. They catch the football and they just run straight out of bounds. But when you watch Covey, as soon as he catches the football, and even a little bit before, if he isn't immediately tackled, his head's up, it's on a swivel, and he's looking for where he can gain more yards in a very strategic way. It's not just, I've got the football, I'm going to run straight. It's, okay, I've got the football, there's blocking here, I'm going to run this way, and I'm going to cut back, or whatever it may be, and he gets those extra yards. The punt return demonstrated just how smart he is. First off, before the ball even got to him, if you watch the playback, he was looking at where the defenders were and made adjustments as soon as he caught the ball. He makes the initial defender miss, follows a blocker, cuts up the middle, follows another block to the outside, stops near the sideline to bypass the punter. He stops, punter goes right past him, and he walks into the end zone. So props to the blockers, but Covey made that happen.
But also, Covey is small. He is tiny and he's fast, so it's hard for defenders to like tackle him. Like we've talked about this before, is like he is a Swiss Army knife for Utah. Like we saw it last night. It wasn't like the full extent of Swiss Army knife Brit that we have, but it was a good showing of it because you had him on the punt return, you had him catching balls. We haven't seen the jet sweep. Or did we see the jet sweep?
I thought there was one play that it happened. It only went for like 2 yards, but it was there last night.
Okay, so we had the jet sweep. So then I take it back. We have seen almost the full Swiss Army knife Britain Covey. The only thing we're missing is a Covey touchdown.
Touchdown pass.
Pass, yeah. Like he did to Huntley versus Arizona 2 years ago.
I don't know if Bentley's fast enough.
I don't know either, but maybe they switch it up and instead of him throwing it to Bentley, he throws it to like Ty or like
have Ty take the snap.
Ty takes the
exact same play.
Exact same play, but it's Ty in the Wildcat formation, passing it to Britain Covey, and then Britain Covey throws the touchdown to Ty Jordan. Wow.
Like I said,
Ludwig, get us on the staff. We can draw plays all day for you.
Hey, if Coach Witt is listening tonight, like he obviously was to my keys to victory on Friday, we're going to see that play this week.
Oh, yeah. Also, I will say that, do you know how happy it made me to see the locker room celebration with him on Bam's shoulders?
That's the tallest my guy's ever been.
He likes to be tall. He likes to be up there to see everything. But that made me so happy because he's through so much. He's been through hell the last 3 years, and now he's finally back. And I'm so excited for him. And also, his leadership role is like rubbing off on all these other kids because his locker room is next to Nate Ritchie's. Nate, like, they wanted to have lockers next to each other. And, like, I can see that Nate Ritchie has some of the same, like, characteristics that Britain Covey does, even though they play on different sides of the ball. Like, they are both big-time playmakers. And I love Britain. He's such a cool dude. He's a funny dude. He's such a nice dude. His attitude is always so positive, and he always, even if they lost by 45 points, he's still gonna be like, yeah, we lost, but here's the upside. This looked good, this looked good, this looked good. And that's what you need.
Yeah, Covey has been one of my favorites for a long time. I mean, the guy's been around for ages. So
he was playing football for Utah when I was still in high school, and now I'm a senior in college.
And he can still play after you graduate, which is crazy.
It's insane.
But yeah, the guy's attitude, I mean, the way that he just holds himself in press conferences, he's just, I mean, the guy just has this like light in his eyes, and he's just such a good human being, so humble and kind, but also you can tell that he's just such a leader. He's very positive, and when he does talk about maybe negative aspects, it's definitely on, he definitely likes to take a lot of the blame on himself, talk about how he can get better, and talk about how he can help others, which is just contagious. I think Sammy, I do think he has the talent to go to the next level. The only thing that's worrisome is his size. And I've said this before, and, it hasn't been as well received with some. I don't know that his aspirations are to play in the NFL. But I'm just glad that we have him now, that he is at 100%, that he's performing at 100%, and he's giving it all. I mean, I think
talk about laying it out all on the field. Like Britain's always done that, even like before all of his injuries. Like that's part of the reason why he's been so banged up is because he is willing to lay it all out on the field for this team. Like, yes, he grew up a BYU fan, but now he is a Utah man, like through and through, and he is willing to do whatever this team needs of him. And I just love that.
That's why I just connect with the guy. I used to be in the dark, a BYU fan, didn't know right from wrong. And then I saw the light and I came to the U just like Covey did. And neither of us are looking back. But just to finish on this, I think one thing that really separates good football players from great football players is giving 100% on every play, being in every single play, regardless of what you're doing. If, Covey, if he's just blocking, he blocks 100%, even though he's a little guy. If he's just supposed to run a route, he gives 100%, but he's
If he's on the sidelines, he's supporting his team 100%.
And if he's on somebody's shoulders, he is giving 100%, which I love to see. We could talk all day. I could talk all night about Britain Covey, but unfortunately, that's all the time that we do have. We want to thank everyone for following us today here on Utes. For those of you guys in the chat, again, we want to let you guys know we have collaborated with Sports Pac-12, where you can find our shows, articles, written by a great assortment of writers, including Sammy. Be sure to check hers out. Be sure to follow them at sportspac12.com and on Twitter at sportspac12. In addition, please don't forget to check out our website, dashsports.tv. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at dashsportstv. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Utah, for winning a football game. Sammy, go ahead and send us out.
Also, we have a big episode next week, guys. So be sure to follow us on Twitter because we will have it's a huge episode for Ute Dash next week on Sunday. So, but as always, go Utes, guys.
Go Utes.